as little kids, um, where I just had this big feeling of wanting to help people, even at 3 years old, and would walk over to them because at 3 you could do that, or put my hand on my heart if I couldn't, and just send love.
Mm.
And I noticed people felt better. I didn't tell them what I was doing. I was a little kid. And then, you go through life, and around the age of 9, it didn't feel safe to be in my body. It didn't feel safe to be in the world. And I shut everything down and
Mm.
developed an eating disorder. And I was kind of in and out of that for about 15 years.
Mhm.
And when I went kicking and screaming to treatment, to not to treatment, to therapy, I finally found somebody I could trust. And trust is really where it starts. And trust is the thing for me in my whole journey. Even today, it keeps coming
Mhm.
back to trust, because trust and self-love are really connected. And that ties in self-esteem and resilience and all of these other things. And, eventually I went to treatment. I've been in recovery for 32 years. I have dealt with other things, physical abuse, emotional abuse, a child with PTSD, and at the age of 54, having my heart broken for the first
Mm.
time and recovering from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just a few things,
Yeah.
ending a marriage, moving with my kid, and really creating a new life for us.
Yeah.
So, and in
Yeah.
the midst of all of that, rediscovering um, who I am as a healer and helping people heal.
So when I met up with you, it was when you first moved over this way to
Mhm.
Murphy, because
Yeah.
Marnie lives right in the same town that we do, and we got to touch base, get to know each other in person, and also her son went to my school for a little while, and
Mhm.
so we've known each other for a few years, and I've just been able to watch her um, in her pursuit to helping other people heal, and in the process, continuing her own healing journey. So I
Oh
know that
yeah.
one of the things that you specialize in, Marnie, that a lot of people in this Facebook community um, deal with, and a lot of people in general. I mean, I think it's definitely an issue. Is chronic pain, uh, physical
Hmm.
pain, sleep issues, health pain as far as other chronic issues, and even emotional pain.
Hmm.
So,
All of it.
yeah, tell me a little bit about that, because I know that that is definitely where your heart is. And
Oh,
so, why
it,
don't
it, it
you
yeah,
share
it
about that?
definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so people that by the time they come see me, they've usually tried a lot of other things. And and they don't know what is that exactly? Is it like hocus pocus, or and it's really ancient medicine from before modern times, and there's quantum science to it. And what I do in a nutshell is work with people, and it's not just come to me forever. So we are energetic beings, all of us on the planet. That's, and so energy can be transformed. So when we're experiencing disharmony in the body, or bodies being mental or emotional in that case, there is some kind of imbalance, and it could be even stuck energy that's going on in the body. And so when I see someone, I'm able to feel it, see it, and help them through it. And as we talk, it comes to light, where what thing in their life or things can be changed. Now,
Mm-hmm.
we get messages all the time in our bodies, in our lives. We don't always pay attention. I don't always pay attention, and I do this for a living. So, and when you don't pay attention, the disharmony gets worse. Whether it's
Mm,
physical, emotional, you just keep going and going. It keeps
yeah.
showing up in your life and showing up in your life. Now, for me, my most recent personal issue with that was I went through a cancer diagnosis, and
Mm,
out of nowhere, because I'm very into gut health, because the gut is where everything starts. So if you're dealing with the sleep, with the emotional, with the grief, with the anxiety, I mean any of the things, if the gut health is off, that's the first place to go. So I do that for myself every single day. I'm into Ayurvedics. I do really healthy stuff. I move my body, I teach yoga, I do meditation. I mean, I can give you the whole list. So when I had this really weird pain in my upper arm, not quite shoulder area, I thought, all right, well, I'll just do energy healing on it. And I did that, and it needed like a little extra help. I got a massage. I did a couple things, but within a few days, it was gone. And then it came back.
mm,
Within a week, it was back. And now it was swollen. And I got the pain gone, and I didn't lose any strength or range of motion, but now it was swollen. And I couldn't get the swelling to completely go away. So then you go to an orthopedic guy who looks at me like, I've been doing this 30 years. I've never seen anything like this. He sends me for an MRI, and boom, there it is. I
wow.
had a stage 3 UPS sarcoma tumor.
Mm,
And it was pretty nice sized, so to speak. And so that was like, what? Wait a minute. I do all the right things for my body. I like, wait, what, I take care of my mental health. Where is this coming from? And so I kind of freaked out. And then I started doing research, and I said, all right. And I was suggested that I go to an oncologist. So I met with him, and he really strongly felt that I should have like there was no question that chemo. And when he said it, something in my stomach, like I can't even explain it, was just like, no,
mm,
no, this isn't right for me. And I said, well, what about alternative methods? And no, 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 those don't work. Well, as soon as he said that to me, I went, I don't think we're a good match. And that's a really scary thing when you have a life or death diagnosis,
yeah.
is to be able to go, wait a minute. I know me. I know me best. I'm here 365, and you're not. You have medical knowledge. And so over the course of time, they said some scary things to me. Like he said, well, as a single parent, I don't know why you wouldn't want to do everything possible to make sure you're alive for your kid. And then
Mm,
he took out his phone and he showed me an app, and he said, if you don't do chemo, here's how long you're going to live, which I didn't look at. The beauty of, and now I can say this now, at the moment I didn't, I agree.
yeah.
The beauty of that meeting was that he got me angry. He got me to anger, and I was in fear, because anger, while a lot of people give anger a bad rap, anger is a really wonderful emotion if you can express it in a healthy way. That's the
Mm-hmm.
issue. Anger gets a bad rap because a lot of people don't know how to express it in a healthy way. And what anger did was it moved me. It got me off of fear, where you're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And it got me to do something. And what I did was I reached out to a couple friends of mine who do what I do, and we got together in person, and we did a very big energy healing on my arm. And then I continued that every day, every day, every day. And by the time I met with the surgeon, the surgeon I ended up going with, he was looking at my scans, and he was surprised. He said, your tumor shrunk 30%. What are you doing? And I said, energy healing is all I've done so far. I did do a little radiation after, but that at the point he looked at the scans, that hadn't started yet. And he was like, he kind of sat there for a minute and he went, okay, well, keep doing that. Keep doing that. So that with a little bit of radiation, by the time I had surgery, I had shrunk the tumor 50%. So it went from being right next to my bone to we had some nice big margins. They took out about a third of my deltoid. And I can tell you, I mean, I can still do all the things in yoga and I have this beautiful scar. But the thing of it was, and this is where I get into wonder, is okay, so knowing everything I know about chakras and the messages and how they can help you, what did I miss? Because I don't want to get that back. And that was the thing. And for me, it was a culmination of a lot of wounds that I had not finished grieving. Because this area of the body is where we feel love and grief and acceptance. And that's where it was. So I did a lot of work on that over the course of last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a long answer to your question.
Well, and you know what? It was a very interesting question or interesting answer, and it's intriguing, really, to me, because I firmly believe too that we do not tap in enough to that inner energy that we need to keep ourselves healthy. Because
Yeah.
I've always heard that your emotions and stress and unresolved issues really harbor basically poison in your body.
They do.
And yeah, and so it's so important for us to realize that you know those things do impact us. And there's some really amazing, and I'm sure you know of them, and you have many stories of your own,
Oh
where
yeah.
the emotional support that people get, or lack of emotional support, and the difference it makes in the healing process and the recovery
Oh,
process.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
I'll
so
give you an example with a client.
oh, please
I had
do.
somebody come. Yeah. So when people come to me, often it's not a one and done. This particular situation was a one and done. Usually because we don't change that quickly, and there's things that need to be done, and so I help move the energy. But then you can't hold it if you haven't made all the changes, and it takes time to change and create new habits. So this particular person I had known in my old advertising world life. She's a morning DJ, which is a pretty big job, and it's got a lot of responsibility. She had also started a nonprofit for teen girls to help them be empowered, the teen girls that were in potential situations that were not safe, and to
Mm,
provide them with
yeah.
place things to be safe, etc. So the night before she came to see me, I noticed I had like an ache in the right side of my jaw, like a toothache. Had been to the dentist that morning. I knew it wasn't mine. And usually I feel sometimes in the body a message of somebody that's coming the next day or the day after. So this woman comes see me and she starts telling me she's got this elbow issue. And it was diagnosed as tennis elbow. And she'd been dealing with it for several years. She'd been to many doctors, she'd had shots, but nothing made it permanently go away. She would get some relief. And I said, okay. And then I said, so tell me, describe the pain. And I don't know why I said that. It's just an intuitive, like, describe the pain. And she said, this is going to sound so weird, but it feels like I have a toothache in my elbow. And I went, okay, that was you that I felt last night. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So she was someone I saw in person. So when I see somebody in person, sometimes we're sitting down, sometimes I have a massage table and they'll lay down on that. It really just depends on what we're doing. And so she laid down and I was feeling through her energy and working on, and intuitively a lot of information came through. And as an intuitive, I'm a translator, I'm a guide. So the information for her was, you have no sweetness in your life. You're so busy working these two jobs. She didn't have a mate or boyfriend or girlfriend or a love relationship. She wasn't spending time with friends. She wasn't exercising. She didn't take vacations. So if you look at life as a pie, she was in one piece of the pie, maybe two, because she gave of her time as well. So two pieces of the pie. There's a whole bunch of other pie left. And her elbow was hurting to get her attention to say, hey, you got to spend some time on yourself. You got to have some social time. You need all these other things, and it will actually fuel you better for these other two pieces of pie. And I gave her
Mm-hmm.
that information, but then it's up to her. Like, so she left without pain, and she was not in pain in her elbow, but the keeping it out of pain would mean she had to make some big choices. And she was in so much pain and wanted to be so done with it. She left me, and we caught up a few weeks later, and that was it. She changed everything in her life. She put herself on a
Oh.
schedule. She started taking
Mm.
vacations. She met somebody. She started dating. She did all the things, and the pain never came back.
Wow. And you know what? That is just an example, one of many, I'm
Yeah,
sure, that you've
many,
experienced over the years.
many. Yeah.
And I feel like for myself as well, a lot of things, and I don't know if I've ever talked with you about this, but I was in my 50s when I finally was on medical leave for 3 months and couldn't go to work. I was in bed most of the time. And before then, my answer to all of the pain and the aches and the depression and anxiety and all that stuff was medicine. Get more medicine, go to the doctor. If I just get the right medicine, I will be fine. But
Mm.
at age 54, I wasn't fine. It just kept compounding. And so it was then that I just did this wake up call. And I wasn't raised around people that really focused on the holistic health, and eating right and all that stuff.
Hmm.
We just,
Right.
and I don't know if it was my generation or what, but, biscuits and gravy and potatoes and butter and bread and everything for every meal. So
Yeah.
we didn't really, I just didn't really have a focus on that. My focus was on work and performance rather than being balanced. So like you said, I have a feeling that I was just, partaking in only part of the pie. And eventually I realized and started making some big changes in my life. And it's made a huge difference. It's helped me to get off of several other prescription things that I was taking. Not
That's
everything.
awesome.
There's a couple things I still use, but most of them, no, they're gone. And so, when you are willing to tune in to what's going on.
Hmm.
But I was just so busy going and doing that I rarely tuned in. And now, it's kind of the opposite. It has people sometimes have a hard time getting me to tune out and pay attention, because I'm just
Same.
focused. Yeah, just kind of
Same,
focused
same.
and
Yeah. It's well up
yeah. So
here.
yeah,
There's so much to get lost in a good way
there is.
that,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree. I agree.
it's really cool.
Now, there's Sharon's been listening for quite some time on here, it looks like, and she's asked a few questions. She was
Oh,
listening when you told us about the doctor telling you,
oh,
and
yeah.
guilting you um, with your son.
Oh, yeah.
And then she said, when you were talking about the upper body and, where all this heaviness was from you,
Hmm.
she wanted to know just a little bit more about that. Does that include the back
Sure.
of the shoulders and your upper back
Yes.
area?
Front and back. Front and back. Yes. So the chakras, and I teach this. I'm actually doing a virtual workshop on the 24th, and there's still room there if anybody's interested in that. The seven main chakras. So from the crown, which where the baby spot is, that's the crown. all the way down. Each of those is a spinning energy center, and their job is to, as you take in energy all day, they move that energy to equally to these places to help maintain physical, mental, emotional areas. So this is heart chakra. And so this area here, and it's 360, all the way around, shoulders, upper back, etc. So yeah, it's front and back.
So,
Absolutely.
and then she
And the
also asked
heart,
about,
yeah,
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, she was
What she
talking
also
about the
asked about?
lower back too.
Okay, so lower back, it depends on exactly where in the lower back, because you've got the sacral, which is kind of between the lower back and, for lack of a better description, the crack of your tush, like right in there. It's like it's not quite the lower back, but it kind of is. It's if you took a rope and you pulled it all the way around to the front, it's going to be below your belly button, but not quite into the pelvic area. And that would be sacral. If it's slightly higher than that, where it's belly button or higher, then you're getting into solar plexus. And those two are always very much related. So when what kind of like dominoes, when one chakra goes out of balance, many times they just kind of go, they and they'll push each other out because there's a
Mm,
lot that's related to them. So sacral is our place of creativity. It's the place where we feel power or overwhelm. So power, like as in powerful, not empowered. Empowered is
yeah.
more of a solar plexus. So that's the variation. So if we're disconnected from feelings, any of our feelings, for me it was anger. For a long time I pushed anger down, and I just didn't. It came out anyway, but I had a very unhealthy relationship with anger while I was bulimic. And so that threw my sacral chakra out of balance for a very long time. And that's also where your sexual expression is, your sexuality, all the feelings are in there.
Mm,
And then solar plexus is more of how you identify yourself, how you see the world, how you want the world to see you, your value. Trust is in both places. So if there's issues with trust, usually both of those are out of balance.
yeah. Yeah.
Just to give
That
you an
is
idea. And
very
then there's
interesting.
physical stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you said that you're going to be doing a talk on this topic um, next week.
I've got it's is that the 24th? Yeah, next week. Next Saturday
Yeah.
from 9:30 Eastern until 1:30 Eastern. I have a workshop.
Okay.
That's on my website.
So,
So
right. And if
uh,
go go ahead.
and there's still room. If anybody wants to sign up, there's still room on
Right.
there.
So what I
So
thought we'd do is when we get done here, we can post it down, the links down below our chat here
oh, absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
people. Yeah. So
Yeah, sure.
as we're getting ready to say goodbye to folks that have been listening or that will be listening here for
Yeah.
the replay and all, how can they get in touch with you? I know you're on Facebook, and I'll put that link down below, and
I'm
LinkedIn,
on
and I'll
yep. I'm on Facebook and Instagram because they're kind of connected these days.
yes.
And I am on TikTok. All of them are Marni April Intuitive, so that's really easy to
Oh,
find.
good.
Marni April Intuitive. It's synced all the way across. My website, because my new website's not up yet. So my old website, which is current, is lovinglylotus.com. So that's LOVINGLYLOTUS.com. And also you can text me at my phone number. That's another way people
Okay.
can get in contact. Or if they're ready to schedule something, they can go right into my scheduling system, which is I can give you that link as well. So there's a lot of ways to get a hold of me.
Okay, yeah. And so we'll make sure that they
Yeah.
have access to those different links down in the comments of this section. and in the description, like in the show notes, because I'll probably be putting this on YouTube as well. Now you have something that's the 4 simple steps to activate your calm. Is that like
Yes,
a PDF or something?
it is a PDF, and anybody who signs up for my newsletter, it's a freebie. You just automatically get that. I love to give stuff for free to people that are
Okay.
simple things that you can take. And even when we're in bigger workshops, I don't just talk. I want people to feel it and experience it. And I really want to touch back on one other point, that when she was asking about the doctor, um, the biggest part of that part of my journey was knowing that I trusted myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that, having to make, when you're making a life or death decision about chemo or no chemo, and you have somebody with this medical knowledge, who he's a trained medical person, to know that it wasn't right in my body, that was a big and scary decision to make. And
I
I had to do it
understand.
twice, because I saw 2 different oncologists that both wanted to do chemo. I will
Mm-hmm.
tell you, I saw a third oncologist, and that person never suggested chemo. And I asked why. And I found out, this was months later, for my particular tumor, chemo does nothing. And
Interesting.
so, had I not trusted myself and my body, I would have listened to those first 2 doctors
Mm-hmm.
and put
Mm-hmm.
put chemo in my body, which would have changed a lot of things for me. So no matter whatever else, whether you want to work with me or come to any of my things, or you're just looking for information, that's the biggest message, is learning to, I mean, some people trust themselves, but maybe they have trust issues with other people. That's still a trust imbalance. If you're
Mm-hmm.
not trusting other people, that's actually, it all starts in here. So you may trust yourself, you may be a great decision maker, so you're ready to go to the next level down. It's all layers of trust. And so, if nothing else from this conversation, trust. The trust is huge, 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 huge. It's a game changer in your health, in your relationships, in your sleep, in everything that you do.
Yeah. I can believe that, and I appreciate you bringing up that as an ending point, because
Yeah.
it is a valuable tool, and even spiritually, for me,
Yes.
trust is
Yes.
a big spiritual tool for me in my life. So I really do appreciate you sharing your story, and actually,
Thank
and
you.
no clue. Uh, some of the things that you'd gone through. Now, before we go, I want to hear
Yes.
about your farm,
Yeah.
your little farm.
Oh, so since I was 3 years old, I have always wanted to have goats. I don't know why. I'm a city girl. I have always lived in a big city. This is by far, Charlotte was the smallest city I had ever lived in until I came to Murphy. And I did a lot of research, and found these beautiful Nigerian dwarf goats. We have 4 of them right now. The mama is pregnant. So the end of March, we will have babies. I'm feeling like I've been feeling her belly, and I know I can feel 2. So hopefully we'll have 2. And they are a great, they're wonderful and fun and healthy and friendly like dogs. But there's so much you can learn about yourself in working with them. And I invite people to come to the farm and hang out, have a session with them, because in doing that, I can help them. Because a lot of people have, oh, I don't want to sit on a table, and this and that, and they have trouble opening up. So come to the farm and let's play with goats. You can, when she's in milk, you can come milk her. We could just hang out and play with the babies. If you're into yoga and you don't mind getting poop on your mat, I'll do some yoga with you. I'm a yoga instructor too. And what happens is you start to notice certain things become really apparent. With my son, it was easy to see on the milk stand his frustration, and he was not communicating. And the goat was giving him a really hard time on the milk stand. And that was how it was showing up. She was giving him what she was getting from him, what
Uh-huh.
she was picking up. And it took him about, like 2 days to figure out. And, and he didn't want to talk to me about it at all, which is totally fine. But he figured it out and then came back differently and spoke to it. It's also how you speak to them, it's the kindness. They pick up on your emotions, just like horse equine therapy. Very, very similar. So we love
Yeah.
having people out. They're super fun. Most days there are babies. Some days they're butt heads. Totally honest. Like some days they drive us crazy and they're butt heads, but yeah, they're super, super fun. So we have two weathers, and we have so that's Channing and Callahan. Callahan is black with white spots, and Channing is what they call chamois, which is like a tan with a little bit of white and a little bit of black. And they're brothers.
Oh.
Clarabelle, my mama, is their mom. Those were her first kids, were the two boys. And then last year she gave birth to two, and we sold the buck, but we kept the doe. And so we named her, she's all white like her dad, but she has these really pretty spots that look like Ginger to us. So her name is Ginger. Sometimes she's Ginger Snap because she's a little sassy. So we call her Ginger Snap. We did lose one. And it was a freak, weird thing happened. Callie, who we had originally adopted, Caledonia, who was the doe of Clarabelle, our mama's sister, twin sister. She was pregnant, and there was a freak electrical thing, and she died. So we had five. We're at four, and hopefully, since Clarabelle's had boys, a boy and a girl, I'm like, we're due for two girls. I hope we have two girls, but as long as they're healthy, I don't care. They'll be fun.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're super fun.
So,
Super,
so
super.
when are
And the
they
milk
due?
is delicious. They're due the end of March.
The end of March. Okay. And do
End of
you
March.
happen to make anything with their milk?
I do. I use the milk a lot in my cooking, when I do make coffee. In coffee, it's very sweet. So you don't need like any sweetener or anything like that. I tried to make cheese the first year, and it was very dry and it didn't taste right. I made cheese last year. It's not as creamy as I want, so I'm still working on it, but the taste was great.
Hmm.
So we're still getting it. And butter. Butter was the other thing.
Oh,
So
butter.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah, butter
Yeah, I
super
used
easy
to,
with butter.
yeah, I can imagine. I had I used to babysit for a little boy, and that's all he drank from the time he was an infant was goat's milk because he was allergic to cow's milk. And so
Mm.
he drank that, and that's how I learned to, be able to eat it in my cereal and stuff like that. And
Oh
now
wow.
goat milk cheese is one of my favorites, especially in
Yeah.
salads and things like that. I have a friend
Oh
who,
yeah.
well, my massage therapist that I used to go to, she's now, just homeschooling her beautiful children, but she would make me goat's milk from her goats, and I would buy that from her. So it was
Mm.
really cool, really neat.
Oh,
Well, that
it's
is
well, it's easier to digest than cow on your
so
body.
that might be why he was able to tolerate that, and so
Yeah.
he liked it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Marnie, for sharing with us and for being
You're
open and
welcome.
honest
Thanks
about
for
some of the
asking.
things. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so we will make sure and put all of the info down below. And Sharon, thank you
Okay.
for joining us. She's been here all along the way.
Sharon,
She
thank
says
you.
it's very interesting, and she really wants a dog for an emotional support animal. But we are in an interesting situation, both physically and financially, because I know she lives in an apartment or a condo, so it makes it hard.
Mm. Yeah.
But anyway, she said you're welcome. And so everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And if you want
All
to
right.
touch base with Marni, just look at the links below or look her up on Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok or wherever, Instagram. All right.
And say
Bye.
hi. I love to say hi. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. You're welcome. Bye-bye.